You know the feeling when you want to eat something nutritious and homemade but have very little energy and motivation to cook? Well, at 9 months pregnant, I found myself feeling like this pretty much all the time. So in this video, I'm sharing some low-effort meals that are nutritious and take minimum time to prepare. Let's get started. For breakfast, I'm starting with some fresh fruit, of course, as I find that fresh fruit always gives me energy and I just love starting my day with something fresh. Today's selection is a nectarine and a kiwi, so I just chopped those up in a little bowl. And for my main breakfast, I'm going back to one of my all-time favorites and one that takes 5 minutes to put together, a cheese pita. To make it, I simply toast the pita and fill it with a few slices of cheese. And I usually add some mayonnaise, but today I was out, so I decided to do some cream cheese instead, so it's a double cheese pita. And then I love to add some veggies, either rocket, tomato or cucumber work great, and my breakfast is ready. Super quick to make and so yummy. And then a bit later I got hungry again and I wanted something sweet, so I'm having a slice of toast with butter and raspberry jam. And this is my favorite brand of jam, as it's pretty much just fruit and doesn't have any sugar, and it's just super delicious and not too sweet.
Good morning, it is Monday and I'm still pregnant. I'm currently 39 weeks pregnant and my energy is still very low. I'm feeling, tired and hungry all the time. So today is gonna be another lazy, quick meal ideas that you can make even when you're feeling low on energy. So I've had my breakfast, so while I still have the energy now, I will make my treats for later on in the day. So I'll be making some bean brownies, which is one of my favorite healthy sweet treats. I always double the recipe, so they're like a big fudgy brownie, so definitely recommend you do the same. I will link the recipe down below. It's not my recipe, but I've been making it for years, so it's tried and tested and it's just one of my favorite sweet treats. And then I'll do some prep for lunch. We're having one of my go-tos, which is a noodle stir fry. I feel like I've perfected the recipe, so let's get started.
So for lunch we're having a veggie tofu stir fry, and this is a perfect meal to use up any leftover vegetables and bits and bobs you might have in the fridge and freezer. For my stir fry today, I'll be using mushrooms, broccoli, baby corn and some spring onions to top my stir fry with. But you can use whatever veg you got laying around. Some of my favorites are peppers, carrots, peas and bok choy, but honestly you can throw pretty much anything in there. As the base of my stir fries, I also use onion, garlic and ginger, so I just chopped all that up, ready to start frying. And I love using toasted sesame oil for my stir fries. I know it's not as healthy as olive oil, but I just love the taste and fragrance it gives to Asian dishes. So I just put the oil and onions, season with salt and pepper and let them cook for a few minutes. And of course having another snack. As I told you, I'm constantly hungry these days. This is one of my favorite snacks. Even now that I've had my baby and I try to fuel myself with breastfeeding, I love having apple and cheese. And I love these Baby Bell cheeses, they're so quick to grab and eat. Anyways, back to the recipe. For my protein, I'll be using tofu and I have two different brands here. I love them both and they have slightly different textures. The cauldron one is a bit more spongy, whereas the tofu co one is less watery, so I can get a bit more crispy. To cook the tofu, I simply cut it in cubes, add everything to a bowl and then add my seasonings. Today I added some chili oil as I ran out of the sesame oil that I usually use, and then some soy sauce, some corn flour to make the tofu extra crispy. And for my spices, I'm doing some Chinese 5-spice, but you can also just do salt and cracked black pepper. Once I did everything, I gave it a good mix to make sure all the tofu pieces are coated and making sure I'm gentle enough so they don't break apart. And I find shaking the bowl tends to be better, as even using a spoon can break apart the tofu, especially the cauldron one that's a bit more watery. I then bake the tofu in the air fryer, as I find it so much quicker and the tofu gets nice and crispy. And now back to the stir fry. I simply just cut the rest of the vegetables and add them in to fry. For seasonings, I'm doing soy sauce, peanut butter, Chinese 5 spice, lime and honey. And as always, I will have the recipe and the exact measurements in the description below, although to be honest, you can also adjust this based on your preferences and add more or less peanut butter or spices, etc. And if you like it a bit spicy, you can also add some sriracha. Add a bit, as I like it a bit spicy, but again, you can skip this, or if you don't have sriracha, you can also add chili flakes or fresh chili. Once I added everything, I gave them a good mix and let the veggies cook through for a few minutes. I also added a tiny bit of hot water to make the sauce a bit thinner and also to break down the peanut butter, as mine is not very runny. And while the veggies continue cooking, I added my rice noodles, which take about 5 minutes to cook. And for the side, I'm doing some of this gyoza, so I just added a strainer on top of the noodles to steam the gyoza, as they take roughly the same time. Lastly, I'm chopping up some spring onions to sprinkle at the top and also making a dipping sauce for the gyoza. And the sauce is super simple. It's basically just soy sauce, vinegar, I'm using rice vinegar, but any vinegar would do, some maple syrup, and the last bit of that sesame oil. It was pretty much empty, so I also added some olive oil. And now my gyoza is ready, so I'm serving everything in a plate and serving with that yummy dipping sauce. And the noodles were cooked through, so I drained them, added them to my vegetables, and stirring through everything. I topped with the fresh spring onions, and now I'm ready to serve. I added some rocket to my bowl and some cucumber slices, and then a good portion of the noodles with lots of vegetables. I then topped with my crispy tofu and then finish off with some spring onions and some sesame seeds. And this generally takes around 20 minutes to make and is so delicious and full of vegetables, so perfect for when you want something nutritious that's quick and easy to make.
I'm so excited for this. I've been loving those gyozas from Itsu and they're so quick to make. I put them on top of the noodles today, but usually I just steam them on their own and they're just so good. It feels like you've gotten to Wagamama or something, or Itsu. That dipping sauce is the recipe that they give you at the back of the packet and it's always so yummy. And what I usually do is, what sauce I don't end up eating, I just put it on top of the noodles and it's just so yummy. I feel like I've perfected this recipe. I've made it so many times and it's just super yummy and so nutritious. And it just feels like you're getting something from out. So it's one of my favorites. So good. Perfect. I also like to add a bit of sriracha on top, but I wasn't sure how spicy this would be. I feel like a tiny bit of sriracha will make it even better. Actually, more lime as well. There's always something I forget, but I'm gonna go watch something on Netflix. I recently watched Gig Girl and it was so good. Let me know in the comments if you watched it. It was such a sweet series. I wonder if there's gonna be a season 2. But yeah, I've watched that and I watched the rest of Emily in Paris. Let me know if you have any suggestions for me, because I am quite picky with what I like to watch. I like very uplifting things, so if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy and then I'll see you for a very exciting dessert. So good.
For my afternoon snack, I always want something sweet, and these brownies are so chocolatey and fudgy, and you'd never know the main ingredient is black beans. And this recipe again is the laziest baking recipe. You basically just add all the ingredients in the food processor and bake it in the oven until set at the bottom but still a bit fudgy inside. At least that's how I like it. I love the slightly melted chocolate on the inside. It's just such a decadent recipe, but a bit healthier than the classic brownie recipes. So I always make this when I want something super chocolatey and delicious.
Ωραίο. Είναι πιο φάτζι. Την πρώτη μέρα νομίζω είναι το πιο καλό. Πολύ ωραία πίτσα.
Τις κόβω χοντρές, λες.
Ναι. Θες να περιμένουμε το Τζέι?
Νομίζω ότι κάνω χάλια.
For dinner, I'm having one of the laziest meals that's also super comforting, chips with feta. And this one is even lazier as my mom is actually making it for me. And even though I love my chips fried in olive oil, recently I've been loving making them in my air fryer as it uses less oil and the taste is very similar to the fried ones. To make them, you just simply cut your potatoes in chip sizes, season with salt and pepper, and add a bit of oil. I then have found the perfect cooking time is 20 minutes at 190 degrees Celsius at my air fryer, but the key is to have a single layer of potatoes to make sure they're all fully cooked, as if you overcrowd them, then some potatoes might be underdone. I then top with lots of feta and sometimes a bit of Maldon salt, and this is so yummy and such a comfort meal. If you know me, you know my favorite food is potatoes, and this has been one of my go-to quick meals that tastes absolutely delicious.
Τέλειος φαίνονται, σαν τηγανιτές. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch this one next where I show you some even quicker and lazier meal ideas, and I'll see you in the next one.